It is harder to filter eating disorders is what I've noticed in my experience of looking for someone. So yeah, that specialty was really important to me.
I want to ask you both one last question, and of course, happy for you to share anything that's on your heart or mind. Jamie, for you, as someone who's had, a variety of different therapy experiences without choice, now with choice, even the idea of, people often refer to the idea of dating is like finding a therapist. Like you're kind of like, oh, 2 months. Okay, nope. Okay, yeah, right. What would you say are some things that were important to you, or that if people are listening and watching and they're in that process, that you could say, here, these are things that worked for me. These are things that I was looking for. If there were 3 things that were very important that helped you find someone that you now are consistently seeing for 6 months.
Specialty was really important. And I would say that it is harder to filter eating disorders is what I've noticed in my experience of looking for someone. So getting as specific as possible, if that's what you're needing therapy for, depending on what you're doing. But yeah, that specialty was really important to me. Before I found the therapist who I'm seeing now, I spoke to someone else. And it was necessary to kind of go through that process of talking to someone and realizing this isn't, she was like a little too soft-spoken for me. And sort of also understanding what I need from like a conversation sort of perspective is that I need someone who will also, talk back to me, give me the advice versus say like, what's on your mind today? And so I kind of was taking notes as I was going through the process of finding a therapist that like, I really like it when she gives me this feedback. And that was really important. And that was something that absolutely didn't happen from, being a kid until I was 18 and having those discussions with my therapist then.
Yeah, that's great. I find that really useful. I even think even making someone aware of that is so useful. So is there anything that clients make you aware of, any questions they ask you that you think actually improves the relationship? If there are people today who are like, oh, wow, I need to go and find a therapist. I've been really inspired by this conversation. What are some of the things you as a therapist would say, hey, please ask your therapist this question, or please let your therapist know this, that actually could speed up that opportunity to finding the right person?
What a great question. And at some point I did ask you, like, were there things about your previous therapy experiences that you liked? Because I was trying to get to that. I was trying to get at what can I take from what you've done before and keep doing the good stuff, like take the good stuff, keep doing that. So it is greatly appreciated, I think, by many therapists when clients come prepared with those questions. Like, initially, you should interview your therapist. Like, you're hiring them, and ultimately you can also fire them. Like, that's what happens when you decide you don't want to work with them anymore. I think finding a specialist is also extremely important.
Yeah, I thought that was a great point.
Yeah, because someone can be really, really good at working with clients with anxiety and workplace stress. But if they have someone coming to them with concerns around orthorexia, that's going to be very challenging for the therapist because they're not well educated or trained. Yeah. Somebody that specializes means they're going to additional trainings. They may have gotten certified in something. They've, began supervision or consultation with like somebody that's also master in this kind of world, which just means they've worked in it so long that they identify, recognize patterns of behavior in a particular group of people. And so from there, you can start thinking about really specific coping skills, specific ways to help people build those skills to help cope with life. Because somebody that's like really good at getting you to think about how to cope with workplace stress is not really going to understand like, but you're meal prepping. That's a good thing, right? So it's okay for clients to ask all their questions about the therapist and come to the conclusion that they're not the right person, because that's what the therapist wants too. We have a code of ethics to keep the public safe. And one of those pieces is you are not to work with clients that are outside of your scope of competence, right? Like, if I have zero training, exposure, and understanding of any eating disorders, it would be a disservice to you to try to work with you through this thing that I don't really know much about. I didn't say a specific question, but clients, please feel, that you have the permission, of course. You should be asking questions and interviewing this person to see if they're a good fit for you.
If you want even more videos just like this one, make sure you subscribe and click on the boxes over here. I'm also excited to let you know that you can now get my book, Think Like a Monk, from thinklikeamonkbook.com. Check below in the description to make sure you order today.